Well, but it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
I think you're the most attractive of all my parents' friends. I mean that.
It's the Al Travis Show. We actually love having Shannon Watson on the program. She is the executive director, founder of Majority in the Middle, where basically, if I'm putting it out there in the 30-second version, yeah, we got the entire spectrum left to right, and the majority lies in the middle somewhere. And if we can all just get along, we might get something done. Shannon, thanks for being here. Is that pretty close?
Absolutely. That is very close. Yes.
I didn't memorize your talking points, but that's what I have.
That's okay. I actually haven't memorized my talking points either.
Which you wrote them, you should probably have them pretty close. Anyway, we were just chatting a little bit before going on, and I feel horrible for a person in your position and your organization's position that we can't get through. I'm going to throw, if you went back and checked the newspaper, we can't get through 3 or 4 days this session without some huge thing that could potentially up. How do you live in that environment? Good God, this has been a strange year.
It has been a strange year, and the close margins that do a good job reflecting the sort of where the state is at. Those make these things more consequential. But I do think like we have weird stuff that happens every single year. It just doesn't usually always rise to the top.
See that? Yes, I agree. I've been doing this 30 years. Yeah. There's always something to talk about. And generally it's a policy thing. It's what are we going to do with the budget? The numbers, $6 billion. Those are normal. We get to talk about kind of things. This year, unprecedented. We're not going to work for 3 weeks, right? Wrong or different? I'm not right. Democrats. Yes. Okay, well, that was newsworthy. Oh, yes. We need the Supreme Court to step in. Was it 3 times or 4 times to just kind of discuss what our business is? Right. We need them. We can't. Name another time that happened. All while we have one senator over in Woodbury who's got issues, right? Innocent until proven guilty. I'm not saying, but you got that hanging over in that trial. Now that's got news today. It looks like they're going to put out the video. It's just news. Then you got on the other side, the ICORN child prostitute. I mean, and now Champion, we're going to talk about it. My point is, it's not just regular. Oh, look at that. We couldn't get past the education bill. That's not what we're talking about this year. This is cray. That's a kid talk for crazy.
Well, thank you for translating that.
I'm hip that way.
Old me. Yes. You're hipper than I am, Al.
I have kids.
I think some of the thing that makes a difference is that there's our baseline for what we're going to be outraged about, which I will say, like some of these things, it's gotten really low. And so we have sort of an outrage culture, and we have people who are sort of constantly trying to dunk on each other. And that's honestly, like, you talk about, like, well, why do we have all these challenges? Partially because, and I don't say this to disparage anybody who is serving in office or running for office, but we as constituents, as citizens, as consumers of media, we have made running for office and serving in office a terrible, terrible experience. And so, like, think about the best person what's the likelihood of them running for office? So I think we need to give people a little bit of grace. We need to understand that sometimes stuff happens, and we do have a lot of these checks and balances and, ethics committees and judicial system. Like, we have these things for a reason, so that there is an arbiter.
God, I love you. I do. I everything is said, you bet. And then I'm going to just blow it all up here.
Feel free.
Again, of all the things you would imagine coming up, is this idea, the thing that we'll get outraged about, right?
Yeah.
The level of that is so low. Who would have ever thunk that in this session, we'd be arguing which felony was more offensive and which, it's like,
right.
But what reality are we in?
So wait, time out for a second. Nobody here is arguing which felony is more offensive. Like felonies, yes, in general are offensive. Nobody in this building is siding with one felony over another felony. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, I think the conversation was, well, we took care of ours right away. We knew this was wrong. And the degree of the felony, whatever. That's not the
Two
conversation.
Things can be
normally.
true at the same time.
Yes, but yes, absolutely. And the idea that this is in any way normal, I think people today, this is me, my buddies, are just tired of it. We're tired of and again, I would throw this on, we were chatting a little beforehand. I just want more. I want more from the people that go there. Now, you might have absolutely nailed it in the idea, if you want more, then give people the lead you see to get there. We make it so hard to run and so terrible for your family, your reputation, everything, to even run. We'll butcher you if you're on the other side. That's maybe why we get folks that are willing to put up with that stuff, willing to, I don't know how to say, narcissistic enough to put up with that. Right. That's on us. But I sit here today, the two that we know of with felony counts, I don't know, and I have no, Bobby Joe Champion, we're going to chat about this. I just wish, because I believe that the Bobby Joe thing is happening in a lot of ways, degrees, yada, yada. I just wish our hired, our voted in representatives went on their own to be above and beyond. That even if it's a close call, really?
I think not all of them. I think a lot of them do. I think Senator Champion is actually in that boat. And I will say, like, full disclosure, he's the senator for the district that I live in. I just moved there, so I'm not even sure he knows that I am his constituent yet.
When I'm throwing too, I like Bobby Joe Champion. I've had him on my show a couple times. I like him as a person. I mean, we don't hang out and have cigars, but other than that, I really do like him. As far as being ultra transparent, I do have an issue with it. He's a lawyer, so this didn't slide past him because he's a farmer who came in, got voted in, comes in for a while. He's a lawyer, and the idea of what we're talking about here is that a person that he did pro bono work for, his NGO, got $3 million to stop fights. Okay, whatever. That was all passed. I believe he should have known this could look sticky because I know you, Bob, or whatever the guy's name. I know you, Bob. I'm gonna say straight up, I put it in the bill just for folks to know I did pro bono work for Bob. Okay. No harm, no foul. Al doesn't get upset. It's like, you guys voted in. They have the exact same numbers. It could have still passed, is my point. I would like and again, I'm not ripping him, all of my legislators to be that transparent. And we are part-time legislators. Mm-hmm. You run into people all the time. I'm doing my concrete business and I run into these guys.
Right.
But then when you know it, you have to be so open. Otherwise it looks bad. And again, it's all alleged. I'm not telling anybody did anything wrong. But that's what I'd like out of my legislature. Is that asking too much? When they took, once you put your hand up, can you swear to us that even if it just any possibility,
even if it's close,
you just bring it up?
Like you're saying, even if it's close to the line. Well, I think that's the challenge. We do have lines for a reason. And if you're still following the law, because you haven't stepped over the line, then you're still following the law. I do think the beauty of Minnesota's citizen legislature is that it's part-time. I'm absolutely not advocating for full-time legislature. I think that's a terrible idea. But the thing about, most people do have another job or two or a business or, whatever their spouse is involved in. And so some of those questions are going to come up. And so I think that Senator Champion did exactly what he was supposed to, he should have done, probably what he would have counseled other senators in his situation to do. He didn't think it was a conflict of interest based on the legal definition of conflict of interest. And so he stepped down from the ethics committee where he's the chair, and he is asking the ethics committee for an advisory opinion, and making that public. And so I think that's sort of the most we can ask of him at the moment. And I think he's doing it.
At the moment, and I agree 100%, getting back to the champion. And I think this is a bigger city's problem, before I get all racist, because city folks are not like us out of towners, because of the geographic location. Minneapolis, St. Paul, you have smaller districts, right? Out here, you can have districts cover hundreds of thousands of miles. You may not meet everybody. I think the idea that how close a proximity, if you own a business in that town, I would project, because Bobby Joe is a schmoozer, man. This guy, he's good with a handshake. He knows he probably knows 50% of the people, and maybe not right by name, but he's shaking hands with them. He's done business because of the proximity of them in the Twin Cities, the legislative body, right? If it's all 60,000 people and they're all within 2 square miles and you're doing business, it's a little easier to know them than you're out here and you got 9 counties, right? So you don't run into them going to the grocery store. There's more opportunity to have a familiar relationship with other people.
Well, and in fairness, each of the counties or each of the districts now have about 86,000 people in them, and it's impossible to know 86,000 people.
Well, no, but my point is, how about your district is probably in a county, right? One county's worth.
Oh, like half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I live
down
in Northeast Minneapolis, and so there's I think there's 6 districts in Hennepin County itself.
Senator Draheim, my guy.
Yes.
I think he has 9 counties in all that he has. My point is, I don't run into Senator Draheim on Saturday at the store. I don't. My only point is so he may not know all 80, but he knows he can just run into him. You do eat dinner out at a restaurant in your hometown, you're probably going to know the guy. You're going to meet him at some point. Champion eats at a restaurant. It's geographically racist. I understand. You city folk will know more than us outstate folk, only because of proximity. I don't see Draheim. He doesn't wing by Blue Earth. Not that he doesn't come here. That's not. Please don't take this wrong.
Right.
But we're not running each other at dinner because he doesn't travel 75 miles to come have dinner in Blue Earth. It's just a proximity thing. But back to my point, we got to go to break.
Well, there's a potential to be in closer proximity to people. But like when my apartment complex, I don't know everybody who lives in the apartment complex, and we all live on top of each other.
Well, and I'm talking more business related. If you're in the business of a law firm, that many businesses need lawyers. Hey, there's one down the block, and you just have more of ability.
There's like 4 down the block.
And so those 4 will have.
Yes.
So my only point is, it's because of proximity. You're probably more entwined to have those issues. I don't know how he knew the guy that did this I don't know how he knew the reverend.
Right.
Not my point, but there's more an opportunity to know that guy because it's all within a confined space. I got to go to break. I want to talk about ethics with you on the other side because I think that's going to be an interesting conversation. She's Shannon Watson, majority in the middle. You didn't think you could be geographically racist, did you? But I did.
I don't know that term, and I'm a little afraid of it.
I know. I made it up.
All right.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters brings you its most popular show of all time, Grease. You'll hear all your favorite hits from the Broadway musical and the movie. Join the whole gang at Rydell High. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll bring you back to high school life in the 50s. Poodle skirts, bobby socks, the soda shop, and drive-in movies. Grease. It'll rock your socks off. Order your tickets today. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Do you have a closet full of old videos, photos, slides, or films? Regain that space and preserve those memories for future generations. Visit archivinglifemedia.com or call 952-829-8018. See how safe and simple it is to digitize all your media. Gain peace of mind knowing that all those important memories will be saved and can be seen and shared again. Do it today. Check out archivinglifemedia.com or give them a call, 952-829-8018.
A as in alligator. L also in alligator. But it's not alligator. It's the Al Travis Show.
I feel it necessary to explain what geographic racism is. I think you know it when you see it. It is people that live in areas that are fine with people living over them and under them, carrying little doggy bags to pick up their dog poo, don't mind the fact there's massive numbers of cars having to get on the freeway. We call them city people. And all of us out here know who they are, and we know exactly what that means. And I put it out there. Fine, the world knows. So there, Shannon. And you're one of them. You know you are. You don't mind. You don't mind 25 floors on top of you and 5 underneath you, and you're on a 34. That's crazy talk.
In fairness, I'm also a Kansas girl, and we have.
You know the difference, though. You know the difference, then. Yeah,
you are right. You are right. It's a little different way of life. Yes.
Oh, yeah, a little.
Yeah.
I drove to the city to see my kid. Biggest thing, just quick. So if I got to go from here to Fairmont, it is a 18-mile drive. You know how long it takes me? 18 minutes. It's a math problem. Pretty easy. I go to my kid's house and we're going to go, I don't know, it's 15 miles away. He asked me what time of day. I said, what are you talking about? Well, that could be the difference between a 15-mile ride or a 45-minute ride. I'm like, you city people, I put it back out there. I know geographically racist, you city people. Let me throw this at you. You laugh me. That's what I meant by that. If anyone has that idea.
Yes, I appreciate the clarification.
Well, because I think of us out here, we understand exactly that. And you're in Kansas, you know what I'm talking about. Those born and raised don't have a clue. Oh, we got everything here. I got a Top Golf, whatever. You got it. Okay, whatever. I got to move on. The ethics committee. This is what. So back to Bobby Joe, and again, expecting more out of folks. He's actually, for folks to know, was the president of the Senate and the head of the ethics committee. Back to, you have to fall on the dime that says the other side cannot even whisper a hint. And I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but I don't feel necessarily that I can name one thing the ethics committee has ever actually decided on anything. It's a 2-2 deal, which I get that's fair, but we couldn't come up with anything with Mitchell. Eichhorn's gone. Can you name the last time they wrote a strongly worded letter to somebody? Because, all these possible ethics violations. We don't even write bad letters. I'm sorry, I don't feel that. And again, I don't
here's the thing. Right. I can. But part of the going through the process of ethics committee is you do something wrong, somebody calls you on it, you get punished for it, or, whatever your thing is. And then everybody's supposed to move on. So while I can name the
when you say punish, you get a strongly worded letter. Don't do that again. Punishment. I don't need anybody's arm cut off for stealing. That's not my point. But how do I put it?
Public repudiation is a thing, and there was a time within the last 2 years that I know that happened. But I don't want to throw that particular senator under the bus.
I'm not asking for a name, but you can name one off the top of your head of the last few years.
Yes.
How many, out of curiosity, if you're just on an average percentage basis, might some senator or House person have similar issues or possible issues with conflict?
I think moderately, regularly. And that's the thing. Like, are we more concerned with people doing the right thing? Most of us, yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we don't want to have people have conflict of interest, and we don't want to have, all this drama. But also you have to remember that the people in this building are constantly under attack. And that is both sides. And that is, you can make hay out of an accusation. And an accusation shouldn't be enough. I mean, you and I both have been in situations where people have been like, this is terrible, this is wrong, and it shows up in a thing. And when we're not allowed sort of due process, and then the paper print the correction, which wouldn't that be helpful? But that's a boring news story. Hey, we were totally
ends
wrong
up on page 6. Yeah, no, you're absolutely. I'm running out of time, and I don't want to lose you.
Okay, sorry.
We both 100% agree. Bobby Joe, again, I like this man. I am hoping all get out. Ethics will look at it and say, okay, come on, let's just be more. I don't, whatever they're going to
Yep.
tell them. I don't
Yep.
think there's a lot of there, but I want the people to trust that. And I'm back to raise your hand, become my senator, become my House of Representative guy, and just go out of your way to make sure, that no one could ever question you. We got to have more of that, I think, back in the day.
I think a lot of people do. There are 201
Okay.
legislators in the building, and yeah, or actually, there's 200 right now.
200, yeah. This.
Okay, we'll get another one
Thank you.
pretty soon.
We'll get one back. I got to go around time. Love having you on, Shannon. Thank you.
Good to see you, sir.
Shannon Watson, Majority in the Middle.